Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Most Accurate Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Akins, joined as usual by my co-hosts, Justin Edwards. We are matching today in the basic black tee, not planned. How you doing, Justin?
Fantastic. Not as somber as our ensemble. Look, it's like Halloween week. We should be dressing in all black all week long.
Absolutely. That was the thought process in my brain. Not the first thing I grabbed in my closet. Yeah, it is Halloween week. It is week 9.
Week 9.
Week 9. We are almost in double digits, baby. And for some that might be a good thing, some that might be a bad thing.
Look,
Yeah.
there's always DFS if your team's that bad, you know?
There is, but you know what? We have a few. I think unless you're like dead last and haven't won a game, like there's time to work your way up to that last playoff spot. We're not.
Right.
There's still some time.
You can go on a run.
You could.
Unless you're like 0-8. If you're 0-8,
Yeah.
maybe you should try PrizePicks.
Yes, which we'll get to later. But yeah, this is the welcome to the Week 9 streaming show, where Justin and I will go over the 4 streamable positions: quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defense for the week. And we will also answer your questions. Justin and I have come to the conclusion that we are no longer answering start-sit questions in this podcast because it's Tuesday morning. And
it's a little early.
It's just too early to answer start-sit questions. And we also actually have specific start-sit podcasts. Yes, Justin? What do you when
Yeah,
are those
we have that Discord show on I believe Thursday, and then here on this YouTube channel, Matt and John get into specific start-sit questions at noon on Friday, which is they usually go an hour to an hour and a half, and they only do start-sits. And Friday is a better day for it, you know?
Yeah, it's just a little too early.
There's no injury reports out yet, except for like the Thursday night game. That's only 2 of the 30 teams that are playing. So
yeah, and yeah, we got that, and a lot of us haven't even had a chance to look at the schedule for this week. Still coming off of last week, so we will gladly answer any other questions you have as far as your lineups, roster spots, waivers, trades, stuff like that. But we're not going to do specific start sits anymore, just because it just doesn't really make sense at this point in the week. All right, let's get to it. We will start by going over our last week recap, as we do every week. Week 8, not bad from a streaming perspective, at least for the positions that I cover. I can't speak for Justin. I will start with quarterback. Basically our top 2 streamers last week were Bo Nix and Matt Stafford, who both were in the top 5 in quarterbacks. So I cannot complain about Bo Nix with a QB2 output at 29.8 fantasy points. Matt Stafford at QB5 with 24.8. Then we had Jameis Winston was my bonus, and he was QB8 at 23.6. So 3 out of 5 recommendations in the top 8. Can't complain. Russell Wilson was a big womp at QB21 with 13.8 points. And then Drake May was QB26 with 11.5, but he did leave with a concussion, so he doesn't really count. Asterisk disqualify. But overall, quarterback's not bad. So if you stream Nix or Stafford or Jameis, you were loving life. Justin, how did your tight end choices do?
I mean, they went well. You would have done well to stream just about anyone or not stream anyone at all and use one of the Mark Andrews, George Kittles of the world or what have you. It was National Tight End Day on Sunday, which is something that I had overlooked. Yeah, if you watched a moment of a game, you heard that 7 times. Yeah, but we did pretty good, even though every tight end, we still ended up with the overall tight end 1 with Cade Otton, who has now graduated from the streaming streets. So tip of the cap to Cade Otton. We had the tight end 22 in Hunter Henry with a perfectly acceptable 7 points. Noah Fant was a dud at the tight end 37 with 3.7 points. And Zach Ertz was his usual consistent self as the tight end 13 with 11.2 points. A lot of that came on his, 11 targets, which we're not quite used to out of Zach Ertz, but we'll take the points. So tight end 22, tight end 37, tight end 1, and the tight end 13. So not shabby.
Not shabby at all. Yeah, National Tight End Week. I will say this. I had 2 different parlays for National Tight End Day, and both were ruined by Cole Kmet, and I should have known. It's like the one time that I believe in Cole Kmet, and he destroyed two would have been very fruitful parlays where everyone else hit. So shaking
Blame it
my
on
fist.
Waldron. Blame it on
Yeah,
Shane Waldron.
well, of course, but still shaking my fist at that situation. I should have known better. Okay, moving on to the kickers. Another really good week. Going into it, I knew that it was going to be a good week. I told you it was going to be a good week, and it was. Jake Bates and Brandon McManus both tied for kicker 4 with 12 points. Will Reichert was tied for kicker 15 with 8 points. Will Lutz was kicker 26, so not so great. However, the bonus final round, Anders Carlson was the kicker 1 with 14 points. So 3 out of my 5 kickers were among the top 4. So can never really complain when that happens from a kicking perspective.
Right.
Moving on to defense in week 8, Justin, how did they do?
Defense was quite good again. We had one stinker. The Commanders only scored 4 points as the DST 20. The 20. The Chargers were decent as the DST 14 against the Saints. But then we had the number 1 overall defense. Again, this is like 3 or 4 weeks in a row we've lucked into this. The Lions scored 15 points.
We lucked into it. Come on, Justin. It's all
we skilled into it.
Come on.
The Lions over the Titans, 15 points. And then the Falcons were the overall DST 5 against the Buccaneers, missing most of their wide receiver room. So 1, 5, 14, and 20. It could have been worse.
Listen, that'll work for streaming. All right, moving on to our weekly segment, the weird sport of the week. So I've been saving this one. Obviously, it is Halloween week. So the weird sport of the week is giant pumpkin kayaking. With my extensive research on giant pumpkin kayaking, I wasn't able to come up with a specific place or time of origin. It's kind of all over the place. There's races in Nova Scotia. There's races in Oregon. There's races in New Hampshire. So really, across both coasts of America and other places, there are giant pumpkin kayak races, which I don't really need to explain what that is. People hollow out a big ass pumpkin and sit in it and
they
kayak.
are huge.
I will say this. I'm sure this year it will probably be broken, but I did find that last year, in early October of 2023, a Missouri man broke the world record for longest voyage in a hollowed out pumpkin. He rode 38 miles in a 1,293 pound pumpkin. It took him 11 hours. He went from the confluence of the Missouri and Kansas rivers to the shores of Napoleon, Missouri, where he won. He broke the world record. So I personally would not sit in a hollowed out pumpkin for 11 hours in the water. Would you?
No. Did you see how much these things weigh?
Well, his was 1,293 pounds. So
that's what I saw. I saw another like 900 or 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Can you imagine lugging that thing around?
Dude,
I'm sure the current is moving, but still, you got to lug 1,000 pounds down a river.
That never occurred to me, right? Like boats are so much lighter than that. That's a lot of work for really just the glory of being the world record holder, which based on what I've seen is going to be broken the next year anyway. So
yeah,
I hope that I forgot his name. I didn't even write it down, but Mr. Missouri man, I hope you enjoyed your 1 year of glory, because I'm sure someone probably is going to break it this week. Giant pumpkin kayaking. I'd be down with doing it like a race, a little, like not 11 hours, of course, not 38 miles, but I would do a little race in a lake or something. I can't imagine that wouldn't be too much fun.
As long as someone's there to haul me back out, I'm not dragging a 1,000-pound pumpkin.
No, and I would think that maybe the smaller kind of races are not that big.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, people have to grow these things, right? So
right.
It's like you don't buy them at the grocery store. So so there's that. There is our weird sport of the week. In our, the Halloweeny theme, giant pumpkin kayaking. Okay, let's get to. I would say, we do have a question. I was going to say, let's get to a question real quick. Hello, welcome. Okay, KJ Frederick. How many times you're going to put? Okay. Okay. Should I drop McMillan for Tillman full PPR? And who do y'all believe will be a better start flex play for week 9? Okay. I
would.
Yeah.
He's got like a 25% target share or something around that in these last 2 weeks. Winston's throwing it around the yard the way we thought he was going to.
And I think in full PPR, yeah. I mean, McMillan, going into last week, we weren't sure, right, between him and Shepard, kind of who was going to take it. I think Shepard got dinged up. So Tillman may see a little more run this week, but Kate Otten is still there, and they still have a 3-headed running back committee that catch passes as well. So I like Tillman. If you missed it early in the show, we're not going to do start sits. So, I mean, if you're going to, well, I don't know the question though, because you're asking.
I mean, I'd rather have Tillman.
Yeah, I mean, we'd rather have Tillman either way. So if you're going to keep both, start Tillman. If you're going to drop one for the other, we like Tillman. Yeah. Okay. Let us move on to quarterback streamers this week.
Yeah.
It's a decent week for quarterback streamers. There's some good options. Number one is going to be Mr. Matthew Stafford. He is playing in Seattle, and he is right on the edge of rostership at a 39% rostership right now on Yahoo. So Matt Stafford clearly benefited, right, from having Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back.
Right. Who'd have thunk it?
He was the QB5 last week. He put up 24.8 fantasy points after a brutal couple weeks. So, he's clearly back in action there. He's playing in Seattle, and they're 21st in quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. So they're not fantastic there. So I think Stafford is your best choice. I'm assuming this will be the last week for streaming. Like I said, he's right at 39%, and he's probably one of the top waiver wires of the week anyway. So
got all his toys back,
He does. Yes, he does have all the toys. Okay, now the second guy I have here is Bo Nix in Baltimore. He is currently 25% rostered. Bo Nix, folks, is the quarterback 3 since week 5.
Who would have thought this?
Definitely.
I mean, that offense looked pitiful for the first month.
Very, very bad for the
first. They're just fine now. They're just good. They're like at least an average offense, if not better.
Very bizarre, that turnaround without anything major. There was no huge trade component, or they just kind of figured it out and got better. He's the QB3 since week 5. The Ravens are actually soft against the quarterback and the wide receiver. They're 29th in adjusted fantasy points allowed against the quarterback, and they're dead last, 32nd against the wide receiver. So they are vulnerable through the air. So Bo Nix, I think, is your second streamer this week. Third guy is Derek Carr. He is hopefully back, allegedly back. He is playing on the road against Carolina. He is 12% rostered. I mean, they're playing against Carolina. Like, I don't know if I really need to say anything else in this segment. Carolina's vulnerable all over the place, and Carr is missing Raheed Shaheed, but Olave is back. Taysom Hill is back. Kamara's healthy. Like, he's got a full repertoire of stuff there. He should be fine. And then my little bonus here, because I don't love the matchup, but I can't not give Jameis just because he's Jameis, and he's only 6% rostered. He provided a boost for that offense. He's capable of quarterback 1 numbers. I think he was a QB8 last week. He's playing the Chargers, so it's not the best matchup. They are a little bit stouter than the rest, but he's only 6% rostered. So he's kind of a guy in deeper leagues if you're looking for a quarterback there. So we got Stafford, Nix, Carr, and Winston. Justin, anything to add to those?
No, I think Jameis is fun if you're specifically like in a super flex or 2 QB league and you're like, look, I'm trying to get 2 points or 27 points for my QB2.
Yeah.
If you're like, look, just high risk, high reward, Jameis is exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Okay. So there's quarterbacks. Let's grab a question or two here before we head on to tight end. Jesse Driscoll. Welcome to the show, Jesse. I'm 4-4. I have Daniels, CMC, Achan Tracy Jr. I was like, JR guy.
Yeah, who's JR?
Jr., Puka Kupp, Cheetah. Geez, you've got a good team here. And you're only 4-4, huh? MHJ, Dell, Brooks, and Allen. Do you think things could turn around for me second half of the year? Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, Puka and Kupp both back, clearly. Dell gets a boost with Diggs hurt.
Achan and Tyreek both get a boost.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyreek wasn't incredible last week, but he could go off for 150 on.
He was decent though. Like he was.
He didn't go like 23 yards.
Yeah, he was like mediocre for him, but he wasn't like horrible like he has been. Because I have him on a team. I know clearly what he's been putting up, and
Yeah.
it's been very ugly. But yeah, unfortunately, Jesse, your team has been a victim just of injury, really.
Yeah. I mean, you drafted great.
Yeah, I mean, with Puka Cup.
If not for Tua going down, the
Yeah,
Dolphins would have looked way
exactly.
better.
And
You've got Brooks sitting
McCaffrey.
in the wings.
Yeah, and McCaffrey allegedly is coming back, so
Yeah.
all signs point to that happening. So I would not panic. I would not sell any of these guys. I think you're fine. And
Hey,
like,
good on you for getting to 4-4 with this,
yeah,
landmine of a team.
yeah. I mean, Dell was not great, but now I think he's in a really good spot with Diggs hurt, and Nico will be back, but not yet. So he should be the focus this week, really, other than Mixon. And then Allen is a very good handcuff to just have chilling there. So yeah, Jesse, I think you're in a good spot. Do not panic.
Yeah, no panic.
We like your team. Okay, Numa. Looks like both of those are the same question. No, they're not.
Let's see.
Maybe they are.
Let's just go with the second one. Maybe they.
Yeah. Okay.
Fixed it.
Need RB upgrade. Trying to go for Gibbs. Wide receivers are Lamb, Cup, Higgins,
and Tank Dell.
Don't know.
Maybe
Worthy, Hopkins, correct. Coleman. Running backs are Hubbard, Achane, Chubb, Singletary. Gibb owner wants Cub, and yeah, he does have Higgins because that's what the Gibbs owner wants. Do I counter or do
Higgins?
Yeah, he wants Cup and Higgins for Gibbs.
It's kind of rude.
Yeah, that's a lot. I would counter.
Let's see our little trade value chart.
I mean, it depends on. If he wants Cup and Higgins, I would get something else back too. I would go 2 for 2. Obviously, we don't know what he has. But if he wants Cup and Higgins, I would get another wide receiver back.
I mean, it's not awful. What if Higgins misses another week or two?
Yeah.
And what if Cup does? I mean, they're not going to trade him now, but if they did trade him, doesn't matter where he goes, he's going to a worse spot than with Matt Stafford.
They're not trading him though. I don't see that happening.
I don't think so either.
I mean, like you said, Higgins is kind of banged up, so I guess it's not the worst. I mean, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Worthy, you have Hopkins. Well,
would you rather have Worthy or Higgins for the rest of the season? Probably Higgins, right?
Yeah.
What if they countered with?
Because he also has Hopkins,
Worthy.
And so you're looking at two guys in the same team, and it's a team that is not consistent with their wide receiver distribution.
I mean, maybe counter with Cup and Worthy. I don't know if they would automatically click that. Cup and Higgins is a lot to give up. I mean, I love Gibbs. And Gibbs would be an obvious upgrade to that.
I mean, Keon Coleman, I think is also he's interesting. I mean, he somehow got better with Amari Cooper in the mix, but we don't know if that's going to continue. So he could also be someone you could.
He's been killing it.
All of a sudden,
not what I thought.
He did nothing in the beginning, and then now, yeah. So I mean, I guess to wrap a bow on that, we don't absolutely hate it, but I do feel like maybe you should get a little more if you can, or offer something less, like he said, offer Worthy.
Maybe Cup and Worthy. If they bite on that, that'd be sweet. And if not,
Yeah, and he's 6-2 in third place, so that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
winners in this chat.
Yeah, a lot of winners. Love it. All right, Justin. Oh, my Alexa just decided it liked what I said and said something. It scared me. Okay, that was weird. All right, Justin. Let's go over some tight end streamers. Who did you bring for us in week 9?
Let's get to the tight end position, and let's start off with everybody's favorite tight end. Sorry if he doesn't have eligibility in your league. Find a different league. We're going with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill not only gets the Panthers, which is just, it doesn't matter what position you play, you should probably start a fantasy asset against the Panthers. We do have Kendre Miller going down yet again, which leaves Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, who everyone loves Jamal Williams, but he averages like 2 yards a carry. And the only other running back they have on their squad right now is their fullback, Adam Prentice. So Taysom Hill is probably going to continue to take some of the rushing work. It looked like he probably was going to get even more work in his first game back last week, but they were down by quite a bit, so they had to change things up. He did attempt a pass, so if you can get Taysom Hill into your tight end spot, He might attempt a couple passes. He might rush 5 times. He seems to be the goal line back. He might catch a few balls. Taysom Hill is my favorite streamer of the week. And, he could deliver a 0, but I'm willing to take that to the bank. His 15 yards, he's absolutely, or his 15 points that he's absolutely going to get. After Taysom, we have old familiar Zach Ertz here. We talk about him every week, and he goes like less owned every week, which is interesting. 11 targets last week with Jaden Daniels presumably beat up with his rib oblique injury that he played through anyways. They only scored 1 touchdown in that game against the Bears. The Giants are an equally kind of sneakily good defense, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Wait, that Hail Mary was the only touchdown they scored?
Wasn't it?
I don't know.
Wasn't it like 16-10 or something?
I don't know.
I'm pretty certain.
Interesting. All right, keep going. Sorry.
No. I can look this up so easily.
No, I'm looking while you're talking, so you're good.
I'm pretty sure it's the only touchdown they scored. But anyways, we could probably presume more touchdowns going forward for what has been a very potent passing offense. Ertz does have a role around the goal line, so he could squeeze his way in as well. He's my second favorite streamer of the week. After him, another old familiar, we have Hunter Henry, who looks like he will be playing with Jacoby Brissett, which is kind of what knocked him into a deeper pick as opposed to like a top streaming option. There was a swath of 1.5 quarters where he wasn't targeted from the time Brissett entered the game after Drake May's concussion. So not exceptional, but he can still carve out a role with this wide receiver room as we've seen throughout the season. He's kind of a deeper play, but if Drake May is on the field, he should be considered like a top streaming option. And then finally, I have Noah Fant here, who really laid a goose egg last week with DK Metcalf missing. We kind of figured that he was going to get a little more of a target share. Kind of crapped the bed there. But we do have the Rams on the docket. They rank 27th in tight end schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed. Metcalf is probably back, which should presumably raise the ceiling of everyone on the team, including Tyler Lockett, who caught 1 ball for like 16 yards last week. Or maybe that was Michael Pittman. Whatever Lockett did, it wasn't good. Oh, I'm sorry. One reception for 9 yards, not even 16 yards. I gave him too much credit. This
you were
as
correct,
a bonus.
By the way, sorry, you are correct that was the only touchdown.
Oh, that was the only. Okay, I thought it was the only one, but I couldn't.
That Noah Brown. I don't know. I guess I just never thought about it, and then when you said that, it just seems crazy that was the only touchdown. Carry on.
Super deep pool for some reason. Those guys are all around the 30 to 40% rostership. Super deep pool. All those guys are taken. You could consider Mike Gesicki, who continues to prove that he is like the second or third option when T. Higgins is sidelined. If Higgins misses week 9, we can look at Gesicki's 3 games without the wide receiver 2. He's averaging 8.2 fantasy points on 7 targets, 5.6 receptions, and 60.7 receiving yards. If Higgins is in the lineup, I wouldn't even consider Gesicki, but Higgins sidelined, Gesicki's fine.
All right. You heard it there.
5 tight ends.
Listen, the more options, the better right now in this economy, right?
Right. In this economy?
In this economy? All right. Let's get one question here. We got G Medina.
Okay.
Hello, I need to pick up a wide receiver 2 fill-in for this week for Pickens, who's on a bye, and Deontay Johnson, who is hurt. Please help me pick one from these top receivers on my waivers. Tillman, Ridley, or Downs? Tillman for me.
Yeah, definitely. Ridley's kind of interesting.
Ridley is interesting, but at the same time, I mean, let me look real quick at who they're playing this week, because I guess that makes a difference.
Yeah, good call.
Right? If it's just a 1 weeker.
While you're looking, Tillman definitely over Downs. I'm kind of trying to fade the Colts wide receivers because I need at least a little bit of assurance that they're going to not go 0. I don't like I'll take a 0 out of my tight end or like maybe even a defense, but I'm not taking a 0 out of a wide receiver, which makes me not want to start any Colts players right now while they deal with Anthony Richardson completing 44% of his passes.
Okay, so we know that the Cleveland plays the Chargers.
Right.
And then
Tennessee plays.
That's the one that I'm just trying to find real quick, and I seem to hold on.
The Titans are playing the Patriots, which is a pretty pretty rough defense.
Yeah, I lean Tillman there.
I think I lean Tillman too, which is crazy, but
Yeah, it
Ridley
is.
has not looked great.
And yeah, I know you. While I was looking, you mentioned why no downs, but I agree with you there. I think he's definitely the third guy out there. So it really depends on if you. Yeah, I lean Tillman, but I think Ridley makes sense as well.
Tillman's also got the best quarterback of this group, so
Which is something
which is wild.
we would not have said 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Right.
Time to get into we want to talk about prize picks, and we're going to talk about prize picks actually for the remainder of the season. We know there's a lot of options out there for real money sports action. We have found one that really stands out from the rest, prize picks. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, prize picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. Prize Picks is so easy to play, and now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as few as 4 correct picks. One thing that I really like is that PrizePicks is also the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. So your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured, a la Jordan Mason on Sunday Night Football. If you sign up today, you will get $50 instantly when you play just $5. And that $50 bonus is guaranteed whether you win or not. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. I know it's early, but this week I like Javonte Williams to rush for more than 48.5 yards. The Panthers are allowing the second most ground yards to enemy running backs in 2024. They're allowing 128.5 per game. Williams has averaged 66 yards in his last 2 contests. So this week, I'm going with Javonte Williams to rush for more than 45.5 yards. So download the app today. Use code TMAP, TMAP, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the PrizePicks app. Use the promo code TMAP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
What was that stat line? 48?
48 what?
48. What was Javonte's rushing yards?
45.5.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm taking that too.
Right, against the Panthers. Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me looking this morning at PrizePicks. So there you go, guys.
Absolutely snatching that up.
Let's go back and answer a question here from College Sports Sayer. Do I need? Oh, I'm waiting for Justin. There we go. Do I need a wide receiver upgrade? My wide receivers are Devonta Smith, Reed, St. Brown, Waddle. I can trade away Hunt as well since I have Cook, Taylor, and Pollard. Thank you. First year in fantasy. Well,
hey, all right.
Goodness, welcome. 3 and 5, not awful. That's, as Justin and I were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, that's doable. Like you can still make the playoffs at 3 and 5. You're good. You still have enough time to work your way up. As far as an upgrade.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you don't really, I mean, St. Brown is really your only clear wide receiver one there. And even he has some down weeks. So I would look for an upgrade there.
It's upsetting because Waddle, we're expecting Waddle to, pop back to normal. And of course, Tua has been out most of the season, but he's just not been productive at all. And like it might be time to, try to upgrade.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. Yeah, I mean, without seeing everything else, I mean, you have James Cook, you have Jonathan Taylor and Pollard, so I think you're good there. So yeah, if you want to trade away Hunt, go for it. I would definitely.
You can probably do pretty well with Hunt too.
Yeah, a lot of people are hurting at running back, and you're not one of them. So, I think that
like an Amari Cooper, maybe.
I mean, you could try for like Cup or Puka. You could try for like Neighbors. You could try to get a little bit. It depends on you. What you really need to do is you need to kind of go after someone that is possibly giving up already, right? We're in week 9. Go for someone that's like 1-7 or whatever and doesn't really care.
See who has Nico Collins.
Yeah,
and that way Nico Collins, you can start plugging him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because he'll be back. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. just got injured, but he'd kind of be one that would be.
The Jaguars can't have anything.
No, they don't. They don't get nice things at all unless they're in London. I mean, I was gonna say like DJ Moore was. I don't know what he was rough
Yeah,
last week. He
he
had.
was, but there'll be better days, I think.
Yeah, but I think either way, I think Hunt is someone that you can definitely parlay into an upgrade there because you have decent wide receivers. You
Yeah,
just
yeah,
you just don't have like a clear wide receiver one. I mean, St. Brown is depending on the week, but
right.
I think if you want to make a run here, I think that's a great idea. Okay. Oh, he has Bateman too. So yeah, I mean that doesn't
Yeah,
really.
still same.
Yeah, that doesn't help you. Okay. Let's move on here. I'm going to reiterate one more time for those of you that just jumped on the pod. We are not going to be doing start sits anymore on this podcast just because it takes up too much time and it's Tuesday morning.
And we
It's
can't
just
get to all the questions if we
and
do
it's
all the
just too
starts.
early and there's tons of other time. Like we said, there's a specific wide receiver, or I'm sorry, waiver wire. Oh my, here we go. Let's try for start. Try number 3. Start sit. There's a specific start sit podcast on Fridays that's Matt Okada and John Paulson do. There's also Discord specific start sits. So
at the same time too, it's at noon as well. So
okay, yeah. So we're gonna skip over some of this here. Okay.
I can grab this tight end real quick.
Sure.
From Rob.
Yeah.
How do you rank Hunter Henry against your recommended tight end pickups? I would put it. I want Taysom Hill just because I think that he can really do a lot against the Panthers. And then honestly, you could kind of toss up Zach Ertz or Hunter Henry. I would say the tiebreaker here is probably if Drake May doesn't get cleared, I'd rather have Zach Ertz. If Drake May is starting in week 9 if he gets out of the concussion protocol, I'd probably rather have Hunter Henry, if that answers your question, Rob.
Sounds good. I'm going to go back to Tyler real quick because it's not necessarily a start sit. It's kind of on the fence. Yeah. And it's really more of a just would you start him against Sauce Gardner? And I feel like, yeah, I mean, Sauce is, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to be like shadowing Tank Dell, right?
Well, I mean, Diggs is out, so
he's going to be in the slot and stuff.
Obviously, it depends on who else you have, but I wouldn't. I don't think it's what it used to be there. So I think you're going to be all right.
I agree.
All right. Joseph Zielinski, will the Rams ever run Corum? Without an injury,
have a reason to.
Yeah, without an injury, I don't know why they would, especially with now they have 2 of their best weapons back. So unless there's an injury to Williams or unless they get up super huge and they want to give him some play in his rookie season. But he's a guy you hang on to in case there's an injury, but he's not going to have standalone value without it, unfortunately.
Right.
Okay. I don't know what's happening there. There's just a bunch of thoughts. So let's get to kicker real quick. Pretty good week for kicker. Oh, yeah, not the best kicker week. I'm going to be honest. A lot of the process that I use for kicker, a lot of the top guys are guys that are already rostered by more than 40% of people. So I did the best that I could. But we have some decent options. Number 1 option is Will Reichert. He is at home against Indy. Always good in Minnesota in the Dome to have a kicker there. He's only 16% rostered. Will Reichert, folks, is still perfect, not only in 2024 but in his NFL career. He is 14. He is 14 for 14 in field goals and 20 for 20 in extra points. So shout out to Will Reichert for doing his job perfectly. Not only this season, but like this is his first season. So literally, he is not screwed up once in his NFL career. But yeah, the Vikings are 6-point favorites and they have a decent team total of 25.75. So he's the top guy there. Second on the list here is Blake Grupe on the road in Carolina. He's 5% rostered. I guess if we've learned anything from this podcast, is just basically start your Saints this week all over the place. But with Carr back, they're a touchdown favorite, and they have a team total of 25.25 there. So, and he's only 5% rostered because the Saints have sucked. So he's readily available all over the place. Third guy, stop me if you've heard this before, Jake Bates.
He's still out there.
He's still out there. He is 35% rostered this week on the road in Green Bay. He was the kicker for last week. He's set up for success again. It's going to be a good NFC North battle there. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites with a 25 team total. I brought a bonus in case anyone needs one more here, and that's Joshua Carty of the Rams. They are on the road in Seattle, a 2% rostered. This is an NFC West battle here. Listen, the Rams are back to scoring points, moving the chains. So this game is basically a pick 'em. I mean, right now the Rams are 1-point favorites, but that's basically a pick 'em. And they have a team total of 24.75. So we got Reichard, Groupie, Bates, and Carty. I think of those four, considering Carty and Groupie are both under 5% rostership, you should be able to find them in regardless whether you're in a 14, 16, 10 team, whatever league. So there you go there. There's the kickers. Let's get to some questions here before defenses. We got Aaron Kleindienst. Listen.
Look, it would be pretty sweet.
Like,
it's some BD energy if you just start Taysom Hill over Mark Andrews.
Oh, I didn't even read the question. I was just laughing at the listen, because that's how my 15-year-old teenage son sends me text. Listen. I'm listening, dude. It's a text. Okay. Listen, I got Mark Andrews in my tight end, but I got a weird vibe that Taysom Hill is going to do Taysom Hill type things in Carolina. I mean, I just got finished saying start all the Saints, so yeah, I don't hate it, Aaron. I don't hate it. I mean, I will say, as we all know, Andrews has had 2 good weeks in a row. So that part, you have to kind of, and they're at home against Denver, I believe. So
that's a rough one.
That's not a horrible matchup. Let's see. Denver is right in the middle, pretty much. They're 15th in tight end adjusted fantasy points allowed. So, I mean, Justin aren't going to tell you it's dumb, right? We're on board. Right. I'm on board with it. I mean, Taysom
start both. Stick Taysom in your flex.
There you go. All right, so let's stroll on over to the defenses.
Let's just keep beating up on the Panthers, because I've got 4 defenses today, and the first one right at the top is the Saints. We're really crushing Carolina this week.
We are. We have nothing against you as a state.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We like both the Carolinas here.
Yeah.
Saints going into Carolina, presumably getting Bryce Young again. Can't really say. Dalton was in that car accident. I think he just messed up his finger.
Yeah, I think it's his thumb.
Was it his thumb? He was still the emergency quarterback last week, I think. So we'll see. The last 4 defenses to play Carolina have scored 7, 16, 5, and 14 points as a DST, which is a 10.5 fantasy point average. So that'll work just fine there. Number 2, we have the Bengals taking on the Raiders. Gardner Minshew, again, presumably still at the helm here in week 9. Last week, he took 5 sacks against the Chiefs. He now has the worst pressure to sack ratio in the league at 31%. That's 37 qualifying quarterbacks who have dropped back at least 100 times. The Raiders quarterbacks in tandem have the 10th highest turnover worthy throw percentage at 3.8%. So the Bengals are a nice look here, even though they're not the greatest defense on paper. Our third DST of the week is the Commanders against the Giants. Daniel Jones now has 8 passing touchdowns and 11 interceptions since the beginning of the 2023 season. He has 55 sacks in those 14 games, or 3.9 sacks per game. And if you'll recall, quite a few of those last year weren't even full starts because he either went down or was coming back from an injury. I looked it up. That pace would equal out to 63 sacks over a 16-game season, which would be the 5th most all time, or 67 over a 17-game season, which would be the 4th most of all time. So he is giving quite the floor to opposing DSTs here. And then finally, if for some reason you can't get the Saints, Bengals, or Commanders this week, the Titans do get Jacoby Brissett, who has still failed to throw for 170 yards in a single game. The Titans defense is pretty poor, though. So you'd have to be quite desperate here. But if Jacoby Brissett suits up, we've seen that he is not he's not going to break the slate anytime soon.
All right. Listen, it's I like having extra options when you throw an extra one in there. I'm always down with it, and I'm sure our listeners appreciate it because it depends on your league, right? I mean,
Yeah,
some
maybe
leagues
there's
are,
some cutthroat leagues.
yeah. I mean, I all of my home leagues are I mean, very sparse waiver wire. Like there's not a lot happening there, especially in defenses. I don't know why this year people seem to be hoarding them, and when you go to stream, it's slim. So, okay. Oh, okay.
That's how that works.
Oh, wow. I was actually about to answer it just because I was like, okay. Justin is throwing the hammer on the start sits. Hi,
Right.
Macintosh. Welcome to the show. I think we're about to wrap it up, but
Good morning.
good morning to you, Macintosh fam. All right, guys. I think we've covered all the streamers. We've answered some questions here. We've got our usual slate of content on 4for4. Go check it out. All of our streaming articles drop today, which will likely have, well, the tight end and the kicker will have the stuff that we just mentioned. Quarterback and defense are written by other people. And Justin and I do our best to add what we can on this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, waiver wires out, all the good stuff. Macintosh does have a question for us. Who's the ad from Houston with Diggs out?
I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean, I
Xavier
think,
Hutchinson's been running a
yeah,
lot more routes, but he's just not exactly. I mean, he's not Nico Collins or Steph Diggs.
yeah, but I think he's really the only guy because Tank Dell's obviously not going to be on your waiver wire. So if you really are looking for someone there, I
Robert
think
Woods, baby.
yeah. Listen,
Let's go.
I love Robert Woods. I've been a
Right.
Robert Woods, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I would say Hutchinson, in the hopes that he gets the run, but I don't know if he's startable, to be honest. I think it's more of a grab and stash and see who gets it this week. I mean, you can grab Woods, you can grab who else do
John
they even have?
Mechie. John Mechie.
Mechie, yeah, I do like Mechie. I don't.
I
That's
mean,
a
what a
tough
great
one.
story he has.
No, he has a fantastic story, and I was so glad to see him get on with the team this year. But it's kind of a crapshoot, right, on who's going to get that. I would say of those three, I think Hutchinson is kind of the grab and stash, but
If you've got like
unfortunately,
a super deep bench and you want to just take, Hutchinson as Ginsane or Mechie and just like see, but like you're not starting those guys.
right. Yeah, not this week until we kind of see what happens there. All right, we are out of here.
Yeah.
For Justin Edwards, I am Jennifer Akins. You guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and we will see you next week, 12 Eastern on Tuesday, where we hit double digit week 10, baby. We'll see you guys. Have a good one. Oh, hold on. All right, here we go.